Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. I welcome you to a crucial conversation that's long overdue. Now today we're tackling the complex and often fraught relationship between the Spanish and Hispanic communities and Black people, including Afro-Latinos. Now in this video, a sister takes on the stereotypes and biases that have been perpetrated within these communities, from the use of derogatory terms to the denial of Black heritage. She calls out the hypocrisy of Latinos who claim to identify with Black culture but refuse to acknowledge their own Black roots. Now this conversation is not just about calling out articism and colorism within the Latino community. It's also about exploring the complexities of identity and belonging. Why do some Latinos deny their Black heritage, and what does this mean for Afro-Latinos who are caught between two worlds? So with that said, let's take a look at this video. We'll be right back.
My Latinos, you knew I was coming for you as always, because you love to call me out, right? You love to call me a monkey, right? Let's go down the list. You don't want me to teach them those words in Spanish? ¿Qué pasó? What's wrong, baby? Because last time I checked, you Latinos, you are so entitled. You don't even learn English. That's how dumb y'all are. All you're good for is laying bricks and picking up bricks. Right? What Latino do you see standing in the IPO office? Do you know Latinos never claim their Black side? But it's so funny because, let me just give you an example with Dominicans. Dominicans are the most culturally diverse race, or they're the most mixed whatever in the Caribbean. I teach this. You're 30-something% Spaniard, another 30-something% African. The other 10% comes from Tainos. You know, the same tribe, the same Haiti that you hate so much, that runs in your blood. You see, there's always a thin line between love and hate. That's what makes me cackle, because we're all the same. And you sit here and you say that you're not Black, but you love to say, when I'm in Harlem, when I'm in Brooklyn, when I'm moving around, y'all love to talk like you're Black, but then you don't claim your Black side. Anytime we're around, we walk in the rooms, you're talking about us in Spanish. You're calling us names. Living in Harlem, I lost my home to a Dominican because he was pocketing our rent because he wanted to be spending money in his little sugar boo. Because in a Latino culture, they don't get married. They just with each other. And when you're up long enough, it's constituted as marriage. The women sit here, they're on trains. Every job that Latinos do is always cash jobs. That's why they all buy these fancy cars. They go to Colombia, they go to all these places, and they be getting all these BBLs. And then you come into Queens and you're working as a bottle girl, as a server. And you're making bank and cash. You send it home to your family, right? Let's talk about it. My mic is on. Spanish Harlem. You go to the Bronx, you can't go anywhere because they turn anything to Dominican Republic. You got to speak Spanish. You know speaking Spanish, mommy. You know speaking Spanish. As soon as you tell them, do you speak English? No. But they speak English. Just enough to finesse you, right? You don't let the Afro-Cubanas, Afro-Colombianas, you don't let the Afro-Latinas claim their African roots. But it's so funny that you have bachata, salsa, reggaeton, rumba. Brazil has samba. All of that comes from Africa. Dumb. That's why I can eat you up in all year, because I'm the mother. Motherland. Don't you ever think you disrespect your mother and prosper? Are you dumb? Until I speak life into you, you always gonna be a worker. And I'm gonna keep you there. Because you have inferiority complex. In order to be Latino, that tint in your blood, you're not full white. Melanin comes from Africa. I just told you you're hereditary of just Dominicans alone. Don't let me go down the bloodline of Brazilians, Cubans, Colombians, all of Latin America, Honduras. But you're so to dark-colored Blacks. And if they do give you a compliment, not a compliment, that's insult. When Latinos are playing around and they look at, oh, esta mamacita muy bonita. It's minimalizing your blackness, like, oh yes, you are beautiful for that shade of black. No, I'm beautiful, period. I just happen to be black. My mic is on Latino community. How many of you speak any of the languages that's not Espanol, that's not Pig Latin? Let's hear it. You pop all your meals are unseasoned African food. Your orange rice is our jollof rice, but you just unseason that. I hate Spanish rice. Right? You eat tostones, that's our plantain. Right? So when you're sitting here acting like you're better than me, you are me. You are descendants of me. So you better put some respect on our names. Because if it wasn't because of us, you wouldn't even be in existence as an ethnicity. And with Latinos, they experience their communities, but you don't understand it until you step in there. See, Spaniards from Spain, they see themselves as like, we number one. The rest of y'all beneath us, but they all Spanish. Why do you think when you go to Barcelona, they speak Spanish or Spanish? That's why when you're in Spain, you say, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal is like saying, what's up? If I say ¿qué tal in South America, they gonna know I was in Barcelona. Because they don't say ¿qué tal? They say, ¿cómo estás? ¿Están bien? Right? Did you know that in the Latino community, Colombians speak grammatically correct Spanish? So if you ever want to learn Spanish, you need to learn Spanish from Colombians. The rest of these are illiterates. They're speaking the broken down English of Spanish. It's not proper. It's like they're speaking, it's like saying, it's like being from Nigeria and we speak Pidgin. Pidgin is our broken English. You understand? So we come talk like this, but you don't understand what's that they talk. So I'm talking like this, but you understand what I'm speaking if it's to and then our Pidgin, broken English, is the same to patois from Jamaica. You see how we all the same, but you let these white people make us feel like we not. You Latinos, you said y'all weren't black. But right after that civil rights law was passed, you said, oh wait, we changed our minds. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. And then you said, oh yes, we are minority. But you never claimed to be a minority until after the Black Americans suffered. And then you came in here to eat off the fruits of their labor, and you gonna disrespect them? Living in Harlem, go to rent rooms, the renty rooms and all those places is ran by these Dominicans. When I got there, on the piece of paper, it said no. The Dominicans don't want y'all living with them. When I lived with the last Dominican family in Harlem, they've been married for over 40 years. They don't have any peace in their home. That angry termite. Her whole family can't stand her. But in the community, oh, la familia, they don't like each other. They go through the same things that y'all do. Incest runs in their families. Their women get beaten. What woman wants to have mad kids and be working like a slave, running laundromats? They're birthing kids to essentially be slaves. When they're on the trains begging for money, they bring the kids because they want you to feel sorry for them. Latinos love crying a sob story so they could take advantage of you. When Latinos are in different rooms, they stick together, but they all be snaking each other. You just don't understand it because half the time you don't speak Spanish. So don't think like families always be together. They don't go through things. They all go through. They're not even intellectual enough to know what they're going through. They don't even know that they're going through traumas, how to face it. So just because you're not hearing about their problems doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It's just that until you live, know, and understand their culture, how they are amongst each other, you realize that they're just as broken as you. If not,
You know, the hypocrisy within the Latino community when it comes to blackness and Afro-Latinos is undeniable. And it's so frustrating to see how many people within our own communities love to ignore or outright deny their African heritage, yet have no problem appropriating aspects of black culture when it's convenient for them. The fact that many Latinos will claim the racial slur or other derogatory terms as enduring, while simultaneously perpetrating harmful stereotypes, shows a deep level of ignorance and disrespect. Now, these words have roots in articism, and it's important that they acknowledge the weight they carry. To use them so casually without realizing the historical and painful context behind them is part of the larger problem that we face with colorism within our communities. Now, the sister makes a key point when she talks about how many Dominicans and other Latinos are quick to deny their African ancestry. It's ironic because the very roots of Latino culture are deeply intertwined with African heritage. The Dominican Republic, for example, has a rich African influence, and yet many Dominicans still refuse to embrace that part of their identity. It's a classic case of selective identity, picking and choosing what parts of your heritage you want to claim, while rejecting the parts that don't align with the narrative of superiority. And let's not ignore the fact that so many Latinos love to appropriate black culture, the music, the fashion, the slang, but when it comes to standing up for black issues or acknowledging the struggles of black people, suddenly they silence. And this is a serious problem because we cannot continue to celebrate black culture without recognizing and fighting for black rights. At the end of the day, the sister is absolutely right because they need to stop the denial, stop the hypocrisy, and start accepting all parts of who they are. You know, in the US, Dominicans are the Hispanic group with the largest black population, and many are pressured to identify as either black or Latino, not both. As the United States marked the end of Hispanic Heritage Month, prominent Los Angeles Latinos were revealed to have made casually art to the cis remarks about black people. Anti-blackness Latino sentiment is no surprise within the Latino community because Afro-Latinos are rarely represented. Popular media tend to show primarily light-skinned Latinos. For instance, the movie In the Heights, meant to portray New York City's Dominican neighborhood of Washington Heights, was criticized for palm color washing the Dominican community. Now, that's not unusual. Afro-Latinos face pressures from the Latino and Black communities to pick a side, to identify as Latino or Black, not both, and many Latinos deny that Afro-Latinos are Black. Some Afro-Latinos themselves deny being Black rather than denying their Latino heritage. Hollywood and TV contribute to constructing Latinos as entirely light-skinned, rarely showcasing Afro-Latinos. Now, similarly, U.S. politics and political institutions have struggled to recognize the increasing number of Americans who are both. Consider the struggles of Rep. Adriano Espeland, DNY, the nation's first Dominican American and first formerly undocumented member of Congress. Although Espeland identifies as a Latino of African descent, the Congressional Black Caucus declined to extend him membership, at least in part because he's also a member of the Latino Caucus. Now, the CBC's rejection could be a missed opportunity. The findings suggest that Black Latinos and Dominicans in particular could help bridge two marginalized communities that are often divided, as we've seen most starkly on the Los Angeles City Council. Now, the Dominican Republic has the fourth largest Black population in the global African diaspora, with an estimated 80% and upward of its population descended from Africans. Dominicans are also the fifth largest Hispanic group in the United States after Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Salvadorans, and Cubans, respectively, and yet they are rarely covered by Latino and U.S. media, are ignored in national politics. Now, while other Latino groups are distributed around the United States, 70% of the Dominican population resides in New York, New Jersey, and Florida. In New York and New Jersey, Dominicans are the second largest Hispanic group, second to Puerto Ricans, making up to 24% and 18% of the Hispanic population for these states, respectively. And in the past decade, the Hispanic population growth in New York and New Jersey surpassed that of the general population. Although Dominicans make up 4% of Latinos nationally, they represent the Hispanic group with a population above 1 million, with the most growth since 2010. Dominicans have the potential to be politically instrumental in these states experiencing exponential Hispanic growth, which happens to be where Dominicans abound. You know, for many in the United States and across the Americas, the phrase Latino anti-blackness may sound paradoxal. How can Latinos, a racialized group of people of color, be art to the cis or prejudiced? Now, Hernandez argues that Afro-Latinos and African Americans suffer from discrimination at the hands of Latinos who claim that their racially mixed cultures immunize them from being R to the cyst. And this is what Hernandez calls Latino racial innocence, a form of collective denial that enables Latino complicity in U.S. racism. Ignoring Latino anti-blackness, Hernandez says, undermines the ability to combat racism not only through public policies such as anti-discrimination laws, but in everyday life as well. Now, the complexities of race within the Latino community perplex many researchers in the social sciences and Latino and ethnic studies. The historical one-drop rule in the United States, which has held that one drop of black blood makes a person black, does not capture race in Latin America and the Caribbean, where different racial conceptions come into play. Now, one of the strengths of Hernandez's book is that it shows how race works within a community that is itself often racialized as a homogeneous group. Latinos are not a race but an ethnicity. They can be of any race or a mixture of multiple races, as many Latinos are. Latino expressions of color bias, Hernandez writes, are intimately connected with assessments of phenotype, hair texture, size and shape of nose and lips, and socioeconomic class standing. Racial differences matter, but they matter in a different way than among non-Hispanics. I feel this issue goes beyond just words or stereotypes. It's about dismantling the harmful systems of colorism and racial exclusion that continue to permeate our communities. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do you viewers have to say? Share your thoughts, your views as well in the comment section. Thank you for always watching, and see you in our next video as we bring you another interesting video.